What's up, fantasy football fans? This is the DFS 5-Pack. I'm Ryan Kostrowski. This is Matthew Bellman. We are here to talk about A.J. Green. You might not remember the name because he hasn't played in many, many hot minutes, but wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. Hopefully everybody is enjoying their quarantine, although the world seems to have opened back up. And if you're in the upper Midwest like we are, it's been like 85 degrees here for a bunch of days in a row. And it's been so nice out.
It's been muggy as hell out here. It's been nice out. It's been muggy. But yeah, feels good.
Definitely. So let's roll into a little sports talk now. Before we get into the details on A.J. Green, don't forget to check out Overlay Fantasy Sports. Not a lot to talk about right now, but for those of you watching this video closer to the football season, we're going to get sports back eventually. Go check these guys out. A lot of fun. And then we move into the man, the myth, the legend, A.J. Green. And you and I were talking briefly before we got on here that this is a guy we're kind of excited to talk through on air because, quite frankly, I don't know what to make of him.
No, I don't think anyone really does know what to make of him. People can certainly have their opinions, but it's definitely an unknown. An unknown with high variance could be really, big upside play. Could also see him being not much of anything. But yeah, like you said, excited to talk this one out.
This is definitely a guy. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you'll agree with me. He could be a guy that at the end of the year is on like 40% of championship teams, or he's going to be he's going to be cut in 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Agreed with you wholeheartedly all the way around.
Yeah, and everything in between. So if you haven't done it yet, guys, we always appreciate y'all who press the thumbs up button. Helps to spread us around the YouTube world. Subscribe if you're new to the station. So as far as the Cincinnati Bengals go, obviously this is a team who made a major change in the offseason. As far as coaching goes, we got year 2 of the Zach Taylor head coach and Brian Callahan offensive coordinator regime coming in. And as far as injury concerns go with A.J. Green, I mean, he sounds healthy from everything that I was able to find, but you can't trust a dude that hasn't played in, an entire season and a half.
I mean, he's got just as many injury concerns, if not more, than Will Fuller.
It's different, but I would agree.
It's
so different.
But A.J. Green's also older, too.
Yeah, but he's never really been an injured guy. But now I'm less concerned with the injury. I'm more concerned, are you still good?
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely another question that we don't know the answer to.
Like, you're right. He is older. He is in his 30s. And as a guy in his 30s, your body just doesn't recover the same as it is when you're a younger man.
Thing that I do like, however, and you kind of alluded to it and talked about that big offseason move, I know he's a rookie, but I like the addition of Joe Burrow to this offense. How could you not? I will say Andy Dalton was no scrub, but Joe Burrow should be an upgrade. Maybe not like a Super Bowl winning quarterback day one, but the thing that I heard, which really intrigued me the most, was that he's a guy that can just manufacture completions. And I think that's, music to A.J. Green's ears.
Well, we're sitting here talking fantasy, not wins, right? Like, I would feel comfortable saying Andy Dalton might equate to more wins in his rookie year, but Burrow might equate to more stats. And we're here talking fantasy. And again, could be wrong on both of those accounts, but I think, you oftentimes you see these rookie quarterbacks looking more like Jameis last year. Like, right, they put up numbers, but there's a lot of interceptions and mistakes that go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not 30 interceptions, but you know what I'm saying.
No doubt.
All right, so we go back to this guy. Again, he's 30 years old, or not 30 years old, 32 years old probably by the time the season ends. And he was never a guy that missed games. Through his first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons, he played in the vast majority of them, double-digit games, made 16, religiously up over 1,000 yards, double-digit touchdowns 3 different times, a big play type of fella. I mean, there's a lot to like about his potential based on his ADP. But as mentioned before, it's a tough guy to nail because I'm not surprised at all if he's on your bench or even cut by week 3 or 4 because he's just not productive.
When you look back at his career and his history, I mean, there's no doubt about it. When he's healthy, when he's been healthy, he's been a number 1 wideout pretty much year in, year out, like a true number 1, top 5, 10 guy when he's been healthy all those years. So if he can get back to that level, I mean, he's certainly a steal. And that's what's intriguing, right? Like, how many guys can you get where he's being drafted that have had production like this? Not many.
Rarely. And they're always going to be risky, but he's drafted at the part of the draft where I like risky wide receivers. Now, I draft A.J. Green this year. I can tell you he'll probably be on a couple of my teams because it's a calculated risk that I like to take. But you also don't take him thinking, oh, this is a safe one. in the back of your mind, you pair him with guys like, maybe a couple of the rookies you like, or other guys maybe with upside that you're not really too sure on. You just hope one or two of them hit for you.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, it's also intriguing. Tyler Boyd, we saw be productive, but especially productive like when AJ Green was there. So all of a sudden, I mean, I don't think this Cincinnati offense is awful at all.
No, a lot of it's going to depend on the arm of young Joe Burrow. How does he play his rookie season? I mean, he's a number one overall pick for a good reason, and not like a guy, like a number one pick, like, oh, we don't know where we're going to go. It was a pretty good, they knew early on where they were going with this one.
Yeah, I mean, he had an incredible year last year against like the hardest college schedule in ever, perhaps. So he's got to back it up. But I mean, he's got the pieces to work with here. He's got, two very good wide receivers in Boyd and AJ Green, and a guy that can move the sticks and Mixon.
Yeah, this could be a very, very solid offense. Again, I wouldn't bet on them to make the playoffs or anything like that, but they should be able to put some points up, you would think. Again, there should probably be some careless turnovers like almost every rookie quarterback we've ever seen, but he should be able to move the sticks. Like, you're right, decent running back, pretty good set of wide receivers to go along with it. What are your thoughts on T. Higgins? As you're the guy who watches a lot more college ball.
Oh, yeah, that's the other guy they added. I completely forgot. I knew there was a third receiver there. I took him with the first overall pick in the second round. A guy that can stretch the field. I mean, they obviously liked him a lot. I didn't put him in the class of like the Jerry Judys of the world that went in the upper first round. But listen, they wanted him. They wanted him with Burrow. He had a really productive career at Clemson. If he can be a guy that they can count on, then all of a sudden, and AJ Green's healthy, then all of a sudden you're looking at a really good wide receiver core.
Mm-hmm. This could definitely be an offense that has a lot to be excited about. So I could see why you could be excited. The other thing, this could take away from AJ Green. We don't know that into this year that Green hasn't lost a step or several steps. Now, he is still 6'4". You can't teach 6'4", but Higgins is, clearly they like this kid. Boyd is no scrub. You should be able to run the ball with Joe Mixon. It's difficult there's a lot of factors into this equation of what's going to happen with AJ Green this year. And I think my biggest point for him is I don't feel confident that I get anything similar to his production we've seen throughout his career. But it's definitely a solid calculated risk to, follow up on the point that you made. How many guys can you get at his ADP that have been productive like this throughout his career? Very few.
Very few. And so I like and I don't like this. He's not, you talked about Zach Taylor. Excuse me, he's not a Zach Taylor guy. He was obviously there well before that. Probably the longest tenured Bengal on the roster right now. I would bet that for sure. However, he's been on the trade block, it seems, for like 2 years, and they haven't made the move. So I got to think that, like, if he's healthy, I mean, they want and they expect the AJ Green of old. Otherwise, they would have dealt him.
I cannot argue with 1 second of that point. It makes complete rational sense to me. I'm with you. As far as his ADP goes, I'm finding him wide receiver 30-ish. You know what I mean? So that's a ways down there. I'm seeing him being drafted anywhere from 60 to over 100. If you can get AJ Green in a snake draft in rounds 10 or 11, it's a great calculated risk. It may not work out, but a lot of your picks in rounds 10 or 11 don't work out. But this is a guy who, if he is who they think he's going to be, I mean, this dude could be beyond motivated right now. He's probably itching to play the game of football. Does Burrow throw a good deep ball?
Yes. So
Okay.
that's the other thing, like you talked about, and that goes along with that production he's had. He's really good. Now, like you said, he's older. It might be done. But if it's not, I mean, he's still got number one wideout potential because he's shown that like year in and year out.
And it's much easier for a larger wide receiver to be productive into his older age because he has size. When a guy like a Greg Jennings, who, I used to be a big fan of when he played for the Packers, is he loses a step. Problem is, when you're only 5'10" or however tall he was, it becomes much more difficult to only rely on route running without a lot of speed. When you're 6'4", you still have the ability to be a quality red zone target. When there's other receivers built around you, still have the ability to hit the deep ball, even though maybe you've lost a couple of steps because you are 6'4" and can win the jump ball. I mean, that is something that, there's a good reason to like that.
I mean, I hear this like manufacturer receptions, and that just has AJ Green's name all over it, right? You talked about the tall frame. He's a red zone target. He's a guy that comes down with balls. I mean, maybe he's not like the AJ Green of old, and maybe he's more like of a possession guy.
I mean, that's entirely possible. At the end of the season, if you're sitting there with 75 catches, 900 yards, and 8 touchdowns, though, or something along those lines, I mean, that's a guy that can be your, wide receiver 2 on a weekly basis, flex play, stuff like that, play him in good matchups. Maybe you pick up some other guys. Maybe he rides Pine against the Ravens or something like that. And, you fill in with, I don't know, one of the rookies who maybe is playing better, or, whatever the guy is that's on your roster, Alan Lazard or something like that week, where it's just a better matchup or something like that. So for me, this is a guy I could definitely envision making a good number of my rosters. Same. Unless his ADP starts shooting up. I'm not looking to grab him in rounds 4. And if he starts getting talked about and, the scuttlebutt gets all over the place and he starts shooting up people's rankings, well, then I'm not going to be as interested.
For sure. I mean, he's got a sexy name because he's been good in the past. We're not the only ones that know that. What I'll say about Burrow is I don't usually like targeting guys with a rookie quarterback. Who does? I'm fine with Burrow, though. I don't love it for A.J. Green, but I'm fine with it. Burrow is a guy that, I don't think he's going to be a superstar from day one, but I think he's more than competent, more than capable. Hence why they didn't see any reason to keep Andy Dalton.
Yeah, that's a great way to take a look at it. He should be able to move the ball. And again, is that going to equate to them being 12-4? Very unlikely. We don't see that very often, if almost ever. But we're talking fantasy. Is he going to be able to move the chains and put up numbers? Is the Bengals defense good enough that we don't think that they're going to have to throw it? No, it's not. It's not the worst defense in the league, but it ain't the Baltimore Ravens. It's not the Seattle Seahawks from 5 years ago or anything like that. So they're going to have to sling it. He probably turns the ball over a few times because every rookie quarterback does it. And that's where we get some of that Jameis Winston from last year. Lots of numbers, and this is fantasy. That's what we care about.
No doubt about that. Exciting to see, exciting to talk about. This is what makes football so fun. We talked about the Browns in this division. This division could be exciting. The Browns, the Bengals, obviously the Ravens, and then I like the Steelers this year. This division could be good.
It could be very, very good. I mean, even though I'm a bigger Ravens believer than you are, you're not going to question the fact that they're clearly the second best team in the AFC on paper as of right now, right?
Yes, going in, they're the second best team on paper.
And then everybody else becomes a distant third after that. I mean, the Chiefs are the reigning champs. Then we got the Ravens. And after that, there's a lot of teams in influx. Every single team in that AFC North, as you just mentioned, I could see being better than 500. Now, again, if the Bengals are 4-12, I'm not shocked. If the Steelers are 7-9, wouldn't be crazy. Browns wide open. Who knows what to expect from this year, but there's a lot of reasons to be encouraged as we discussed. So it is an intriguing division.
I think that all those teams, like you said, could be above 500. And if the Ravens don't play like how they played last year, I think any of those teams, I struggle to see the Bengals winning the division. But any of those other teams, I think, could.
I struggle to see the Ravens not being good. Maybe they won't be as good as they were down the stretch last year, but they still have a good defense. It's such a well-run organization.
Right.
Maybe Lamar doesn't step it up this year, but he's still going to be able to scramble for some yards.
Maybe they're 11-5 or 10-6.
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
I'm not saying they won't. They're going to get wins against bad teams, no doubt about that.
All right, Mr. Bellman, gun to head. Rank the teams in this league. How does this division finish if you had to pick right now and put a bet on it?
I mean, it's hard not to say the Ravens, Steelers, Browns, Bengals, kind of like how it's been. That's probably where my money would go, but all the other options are right there.
I'm with you. I agree. The bet I would make, though, if there was sports bet, if I had odds to pick your Browns over the Steelers, I wouldn't mind if I could get 1.5 times my money to bet the Browns being the Steelers. I could get on board with that, but I'm with you. I definitely have it Ravens, Steelers, Browns, Bengals, but I think the Browns' ceiling is higher than Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I do too. They just have weapons, I think.
Yeah, you're a bigger Big Ben guy than I am, especially at this point of their career. So you have more trust in him than I do. And I think the Browns have so much talent that if things gel right this year, I could see them being 13-3. I struggle to see Pittsburgh being that good. I definitely have them inked for a 9-7 type of team because it's a winning culture. But yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if they're not very good.
If I had to pick one team that was going to be above 500, it's the Steelers. But if we're talking, I had to pick one that could be 12-4, it's the Browns. I agree with you.
Yeah, higher risk, higher reward. So the fact that they are your Browns team, this is your type of GPP play. 4-12 and 12-4 are both for real.
No doubt about it.
And I would bet good money that the Steelers finish somewhere between those two records.
Agreed.
So, awesome. It's getting me psyched for football season, man. Anyway, I've been busy the last couple days. And I see that the NHL just recently announced what their plan is moving forward. Have you heard anything about the NBA or MLB that seems like it's pretty firm?
MLB is like going back and forth because, they're trying to get the players to take massive pay cuts, and it just seems like a bad situation right now. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with MLB. It looks like we will get NBA, though, at least for the playoffs, maybe at the beginning of August. Nothing concrete, though.
Okay. That's kind of what I've been hearing, but I've been all over the loop for about 3-4 days. So I know you pay attention to this stuff so closely. I thought you might have a little bit of insight. Hopefully we get some sooner than later. And I know a lot of you guys are missing sports. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. As much as we all hate this, I'm hoping some people, they're for a lot of guys out there who have kids, maybe not watching sports a little bit and spending more time with their family, developing other hobbies, maybe reading or working out or whatever it might be, we'll get our sports back. But this might be like a little weird blessing in disguise for a lot of people's lives to get other things that they like to do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Anything can be a blessing in disguise if you look at it through the right lens.
Exactly. Because, you're not going to find a lot of guys like me and you, like, we miss sports, right? Like, your average night for me, like, basketball starts, I start watching basketball. For you, yes, but more so probably even with baseball. Baseball starts, the games are on. It's been nice to buy a bike and get out a little bit. All that being said, man, bring me my sports.
No doubt about it. Yes and yes.
And I still think football is going to go off without a hitch this year. Again, training camp might be a little messed up, but I think we are going to get the season started on time. I'm just assuming we won't have fans, though.
I agree.
And I don't care about those anyway. I care about you guys, the fans. I'm just saying I don't care if they're in the stadium or not. I just want to watch my sports.
Same and same.
So, all right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Click that thumbs up button, and we will see you guys probably tomorrow for a few more players.
Thanks, guys.